Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Asian report, but we're looking at the S&P 500 here, and the reason for this is that there's a bullish count that's come into the S&P 500. So yesterday we were looking at a possible top being in play here, but we would have needed 5 waves to the downside here, but we only got 3 waves, so it makes this move down bullish, and that means that we're going to be making new highs above here. But in turn, by taking out this top here, it also flips it into a much larger picture. So if I can just go to the daily chart here for a moment, it would flip it over into this scenario here, where we have a more bullish picture by taking this last top out, which it hasn't done yet, but it will. So from wave 3 here, we're looking for an A and a B and a C wave for wave 4, and then a much bigger wave going up to, well, this wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to finish its sequence here. Okay, so obviously this is going to put a bit of a bullish stance on the European markets, which we've worked through, and possibly also the Asian markets as well. And we have to remember that in Australia, if we use CBA as one of the pivot sort of companies to work wave counts from, it's also got an A and a B and a C wave down here as well. So let's look at that. And we've looked at this before, of course, which is this one here. This is CBA on a daily chart, and we've got 5 waves down here for the A wave, the B wave, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for the C wave here. So it's possible, as I've mentioned before, that this is a bullish pattern the way that it stands at the moment, and it would remain bullish unless this low here was taken out. So this can all be part of a stronger move to the upside here. Okay, so this little wave structure down here in the ASX200 and this market here, it appears like this may be wave 1 here, and then an A wave, a B wave in 3, and then C wave in 5 here, and then moving up. So having wave 1 here and wave 2 over here. Until this is taken out, or until the market really moves back lower into this space here, you know, I have to keep looking at this as a bullish picture here. So yeah, with that in mind, these 3 waves down here, if we look at the ASX200 now, also on a daily chart, we've also only got 3 waves down, as 5 waves down for the A wave, an A and a B and a C wave in here, and then 5 waves down here as such. So this is the low on the cash market, not this one here. So it's possible that the CBA move to the upside was quite a bit unusual from its low down here. It really had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like this, and then it had a move down here like this, and then it had a sort of a 3 wave sort of thing here, and now it's producing 5 waves here. So I'm thinking that this is wave 1 and wave 2 here of just a running correction of 5 waves here for wave 1, an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here, and then moving up, which would make this one here the same as well in 1 and 2, and basically the same. We'll look at that in a moment. So it's possible that this is actually a low here, even though we were looking at 5 waves down here yesterday, which we do have, and we'll work through that. But basically, you know, 5 waves up to here, and then an A and a B wave to here, and then a C wave to here, and then moving off from here. So yeah, we need to basically have a look at that and work out at what point will we know. So we can see that, you know, the US has got sort of higher to go, so that means that you know, we could be moving higher through here. So just going back to the 15-minute chart that we're working on, or was it 2-hour chart? Doesn't really matter. We can come back to this one, but it's just loading at the moment. There's just a few other things that we have that's going on the machine at the moment. But so yesterday we were talking about having 5 waves down here, or looking for 5, and we got those 5, so they came in quite nicely. And then we're going to look for an A and a B and a C wave here for wave 2 here at the 5-3 sort of area, and then look for the next move down as such. And look, that is still quite probable as well, and we can't rule it out, and we need to work through that. But because the US markets and the European markets can push higher, we need to sort of work out what we can do here. So so it's pretty simple really. The 5,300 here, if this market finds support on the 5,300 here, then we know that we have a bullish picture, and then we need to be long in basically everything, in stock, on the Australian side. So in the meantime, this little move up through here, if it's going to be a bearish pattern, it would just be an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave moving somewhere up into this area here. So it would be in 3 waves, but we wouldn't know it was 3 waves until a move down came. Do you know what I mean? So what we could look at though is this little move up through here. If we start to see it as 5 waves up, then we know that we're in a bullish mode at that point. So currently this little move here is not finished. It's probably still got a 4 and a 5 to go to this point. So it's not going to give us anything here. And even when it pulls back a bit, it's still not going to give us anything. And even when it produces 5 waves here, it's not going to give anything. It's only when it produces a correction here and gives us 5 here. So it would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we know that we'll be in a bullish mode from that point there. If I go to the 4-hour chart here for a moment, this is the bullish count that could be in play, so wave 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here, and then because this is 5 waves down here, this has sort of had me stumped, and this one had me stumped as well a little bit, as I mentioned at the time. So an A wave, a B wave taking out the tops here, and then a C wave down here in 5 waves. So this type of pattern, this is where we've got to also be careful as well, because when a market, when this occurs here, when wave B takes out the top of wave 5 here, and C wave takes out the bottom of wave A here, it's what they call an expanded flat. So it's like a bit of a whipsaw really, but the thing about it is that when you've got an expanded flat correction, then the next move here is really powerful. So we wouldn't want to miss that. But I don't really know how to get to it until we've got a support on here. Otherwise we could get sort of trapped here. But what we could do is we could look at the first little 5 waves up here. If you're trading this anyway, look at the first little 5 waves up, look for the pullback in 3 waves here. We'll look at this on a 5-minute chart in a minute, but and then look to go long on this thing here, on a breakthrough here. And then, if we do find support here, then look to add on to that. And if it comes back down, we'll then try and, get out at sort of, break even. So with that in mind, looking at just going back to the 15-minute chart here, just sort of looking at this while I talk. So I can see here that we know we've got our 5 waves down. We know that the 5,300 here is important as the 50-60% retracement level. We also know it's important too because of a trading level, the top of group 1. So this little move here so far, this little move up here, that's in 5 waves here, okay? So this sideways movement is wave 2. So we've got wave 1 and 2. This is all the 3rd wave up here. So there'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in there somewhere. So somewhere around the open, here we go, 5, 2 here. I haven't got that that level in there. So that's important. So that's where the little the top of wave 3 can play out here as wave 4. And then wave 5 here. Then what will happen, this may go a bit higher as well here, but basically we'll see an A and a B and a C here. and then we'll see another move up. And what I'm suggesting is that, sure, you could play this leg here, but this leg here, once you've got 3 waves in play here, take the break of this one here, and then just hold it all the way up here. And you could even look to add up here, and with the understanding that from this low here, we can get an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here, and then it can fail from here. But if you've got positions in this sort of area through here, that's going to give us enough time to sort of, take care of those positions as such. With me? So I think that that's about the best strategy that I can think of at the moment. But we definitely need to play both sides of the market, because if the US market's going to continue up from here, then and it's also too, I'll go back and check today. I mean, from memory, when I look at like BHP, for instance, it's had 5 waves up off its low and then pull back as an ABC correction as well. Let me just check on that. Okay, so this is Rio here on a daily chart. Okay, so what I was thinking here is that, from its low here, perhaps that's an impulse wave here with a with an A and a B and a C correction here. So it may be completed here too, just sort of waiting and ready to move up from this point. I can't confirm that because I haven't pulled these structures apart here, but I just noticed, that we had this move up here and this corrective move back, and it's moved back to its sort of, 50-60% retracement level here and it's also sitting on the $50 mark here, so that's important too here. But it's possible that this can be, up for 1 and back for 2, so to speak. The BHP has moved a bit lower than this one here. Let's just find that. It's BHP. So it's moved lower. It's got the same pattern as Rio, and it has moved lower through here. But, if we start to see it sort of, even if it does drop a bit lower here or whatever, but if we start to see it sort of moving up from this side here, then we'll look to go long in this market as well and looking to add on top of here. But all I was mentioning here is that normally I look at the banks, but it could be the materials sector. I mean, the government in Australia have given, the banks a bit of a hard time, trying to curb the property market, putting a lot of policies in place. So they've been sort of knocked around a little bit. But, perhaps these markets can, pick up the slack and move up. But anyway, let's just see. We're at that really sort of important junction here, and we'll need to see a turn here. And the same with the banks as well, and also the ASX200 as well. So I was thinking quite bearish, and rightfully so. And all these Australian markets can still be bearish, but when I see that the US markets have got much higher to go, it sort of doesn't, of that degree of structure, it just doesn't make sense for the Australian market to continue to move down like that. But possible. But let's just see. It's just something that we have to sort of work through with all of this. Alrighty, cheers.